Though we are still 3 months away, the 2022 Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship really is right around the corner. Tickets went on sale this week, and the traditional 17-round championship at different venues will be back in 2022. But some confusion has been raised within the last week about COVID-19 protocols or even vaccination requirements regarding athletes, personnel, and even fans. Supercross promoter Feld Entertainment came under some scrutiny amid the confusion, and many questions were being asked about what the situation really was. Our Jason Weigandt caught up with Dave Prater, the Director of Operations for Supercross, to clarify that Feld is indeed not requiring a COVID-19 vaccination for anyone.
I'm just going to ask the most basic question first. I think there's been some confusion here. There is not a vax mandate for Supercross for both spectators or racers or industry or media like myself, whatever you want to call it. That is not the case.
Correct, Jason. There is no vax mandate for riders, team personnel, fans, anyone at Supercross. So there's definitely a lot of misinformation out there, and just want to set that straight. There is no vaccination mandate for Supercross, period.
Yeah, right. So you're not pro-vax, you're not requiring the vax, and you want to focus on the sport. But I guess the bind you get into here is we don't exactly know 100% where the rest of the world or the country or the stadiums are going between now and May, really, when the series would end.
Right, exactly. And that's kind of what I said. We've got to take it day by day. We're going to watch, and just like we've done since, March of 2020, we're communicating with all the local authorities, all the health departments, all the governments, because that's where a lot of this, most of it is stemming from. Like, stadiums aren't just mandating mask mandates or vaccination or proof of negative test. It's coming from the local health department. So we're in touch with them, as we've been the last 18 months or so. We're in touch with all the venues that we race at. And that's, we chose these venues because of a few factors, but it was history, number one. Number two, they all are sure, or fairly sure, as sure as you can be these days, that they're going to be at 100% capacity. And, the restrictions weren't going to be as stringent as they've been. So at the moment, all 17 venues, there are no vax requirements, no proof of a negative test requirement. And like you said, that could change, but we're monitoring the situation daily. And if it does, at the very least, we're going to let everyone know if something changes.
Oh, so that's interesting. You're actually saying that when you were looking for the venues for the schedule, you even had that in mind of like, the ones that seem a little less likely to have restrictions, we would prefer that. Like, that was part of your decision of what venues to go to.
Definitely. Because it's across the board, it's better to have less restrictions. We want to keep everyone safe, and I think we've done a great job of that over the last 2 seasons. And we're going to have things in place as far as protocols for athletes and teams and such to continue that and keeping everyone safe. But you have to take all of that into consideration when you're trying to come out of this. Again, I know, like we just said, we're not out of this. We're still in the midst of a pandemic, but I think we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and that was our mindset going into 22.
Right. So you aren't promoting, you must take the vax. You tried to have stadiums that were less restrictive, but the problem is there's a chance that a stadium or a county or a local government might say it's required. And then the argument is, well, just move, just hold 8 races in the city that does allow it. So what makes it impossible to say that, oh yeah, we'll just move, don't worry about it?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I'd say it's extremely challenging, because one of the good things that's come out of this pandemic is the fact that live events are coming back, and they're coming back strong. Not only Supercross, but I'm sure you've watched college football and the NFL the last several weeks. Fans are coming out en masse, and a lot of events that were shut down since March of 2020 are now clamoring to get back into stadiums and get back, out there. So that's been a challenge as well. When we went to go book all of these venues, in the past 5-10 years ago, they would have said, sure, what do you guys want? Pick a date, pick a Saturday. Today, it's not that easy. They may have 1 or 2 Saturdays available. So it's a complicated puzzle. And along with that, depending on when we get word that something has changed and we may have to move, and I'm not speaking for 22, but just in the past, I mean, you've got lead time. You've also got load-in schedule. So if we are racing in Glendale this Saturday, and then we want to race, say we want to stay in Glendale for the next Saturday, well, they may have an event booked for the following Saturday at State Farm Stadium. And not only that, they have an event moving in right after us on Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. So you blacked out that whole week, as Supercross does as well. Supercross and Monster Jam, we black out an entire week of rent at the stadium. So it's not as easy as just going, yeah, let's move here, or let's stay in the current stadium we're at, because the availability is extremely limited.
Does some of this confusion come because we've also heard, from the team perspective that they might be doing this? So maybe some of the things we're hearing is from that side, and it's not necessarily you asking for it. I don't think people always know the source of all information. So yeah, that could be part of it.
I think that's a lot of it. I think, part of it comes from the fact that we're just trying to be as transparent as we can with the teams and letting them know as soon as we can the potential, every possibility is out there. So when we started getting information from our folks that deal with stadiums and arenas around the country and even the world about certain venues, it started with mostly arenas. Then there was a few stadiums that were added, but certain venues going to a vax mandate. We just wanted to reach out to the teams and let them know, look, this is a possibility. We don't want this to happen a week out from a race, and now we're just coming to you to tell you this. So at least we're completely transparent. That it's a possibility, although slim, but it's a possibility. So I think from there, it's grown a bit. And I think just in general, these companies are independent companies. So they each have their own mandate, or they have different COVID policies, whether it's a vax mandate or testing or nothing. And so, with so many different OEMs out there, so many different entities in our sport, in our industry, I think, there's a lot of back and forth. And then we're trying to give them information. It's like the game of telephone, like we said, one person says something and it becomes something completely different after the fourth or fifth person relays it.
Okay, so you expect the schedule to be able to hold. That's certainly the hope. And the good news is it looks like the traditional Supercross schedule that includes going to Anaheim, that includes being back in California, having multiple venues, none of the Tuesday races, things like that, kind of back to what we expect from Supercross. So hopefully that holds. And then it all makes sense to me. There's got to be some excitement with a little bit of worry, but hopefully not, that we just get back to Anaheim 1 and all the things we normally see in Supercross.
100% agree. Like I said, let's focus on Supercross. Let's focus on this sport. We all love it. We all love it for a reason, because it's exciting. You never know what's going to happen. And that's where Supercross fans should be focused, not on COVID, not on vaccine mandates, not on the rest of the world. Let's focus on the sport that we love, and let's just enjoy 2022.